Hello, so for today's video I've got two fragrances from the brand Borsalino. Perfume Street sent me these fragrances to review and I'm just going to talk you through them and really about Borsalino fragrances. So Borsalino are actually an Italian hat brand and they used to be in the fragrance market back in the 80s, 90s and 2000s, but they stopped making fragrances and concentrated on their fedora hats. They're very, very famous for these fedora hats. And they've gone back into the perfume market and launched two fragrances based around Iris. I love Iris, as I know, and so I was really interested to try these, but also Perfume Street interests me because Perfume Street partners with Chantal Rousse. So if you don't know about Chantal Rousse, she is the lady who basically discovered Francis Kurkdjian. She's the one who also was involved in marketing YSL's Opium, the one who brought Kouros and also Paris to the market, and has been involved in launching fragrance lines for Issey Miyake, Jean Paul Gaultier and even Tom Ford. So this is why I was so interested by this brand. So Perfume Street have sent me both the male marketed Black Iris from Borsalino and also the female marketed White Iris from Borsalino. These fragrances retail in the UK for £69 and the US for $75, and that's for 50ml. For 100ml they retail for £89 in the UK and $100 in the US. So clearly from the name, these fragrances are both based around the note of iris, and these fragrances were formulated by Nicolas Bonneville, who has actually created fragrances for Jean Paul Gaultier, Dries Van Noten and Jo Malone. So both Black and White Iris were launched in 2025. I think Black Iris was launched before White Iris. So how did I find these? Let's start with Black Iris. So both of the fragrances come in very similar bottles. So Black Iris looks like this, and actually it has a very textured label which is supposed to reflect the texture of the ribbon that they add to the fedora hat. It's trying to carry through the brand history of Borsalino into the fragrance bottle. So this opens with a really nice sparkling brightness for some bergamot. It really does have quite a coolness to it. It's fresh, but it's not sharp. There's also some cardamom and also some carrot seed. The cardamom and the carrot seed work really well together, and along with the iris give it quite a powdery feel, but it's got quite a sweetness to it as well. I think it's stunning, the opening to this fragrance. It's really soft and it's really huggy, and I think that's really the best part of this fragrance. It makes me think actually of the texture of almond and cardamom cookies. A little bit powdery, a little bit gourmand, and just soft and inviting. It's fluffy feeling, but it's also quite dry. I think if you like fragrances like Glossier you will really like the opening of this fragrance. As this dries down, it becomes warmer, woodier and sweeter. It's slightly more irisy and there's more texture to it. There's amberwood listed in the notes, and I can't say that it bothers me too much. Normally I absolutely hate amberwood, but actually in this fragrance I find it to be quite soft. I don't think you're getting smacked in the face with amberwood. It's still quite sweet in the dry down, and actually the vanilla here I would compare with something like Metal Wave by All Saints. It's quite green almost and fresh, but also yellow feeling and soft, but also very woody. I definitely think this fragrance takes some inspiration from the original Dior Homme. I think with this one I'd say don't be swayed by the marketing. I don't feel like I don't want to wear this. I don't feel like this is harsh. I don't feel like this is super strong. I actually think this was quite gentle and quite huggy, and I really do like the opening. I'm not so keen on the dry down. I think it gets a bit molecular for me. I think though, if you like more molecular style fragrances, I think if you like things like Glossier You, if you like things like Chapter 1 by Rahasia, if you like things like Metal Wave by All Saints, I think this one could be a winner, but definitely you have to like the more molecular style fragrances, particularly in the dry down. So yeah, that's Black Iris by Borsalino. So the next fragrance is White Iris, and this one is the one that's marketed towards women. But as I've said, don't be scared by Black Iris because I feel like it's totally unisex. This one is definitely fruitier, it's brighter and it's bigger. So this one comes in a white bottle with that similarly textured label. And this one really, I think, just ignore the notes, because I just looked at the notes and I thought, no, it just isn't that. This to me opens really very differently. This one is bright, it's fruity, it smells almost a little bit pineapple-y to me. There's definitely some yellowy tropical fruits here, and it's also got a slight coconutty aspect to it as well. The coconut is more of a coconut water kind of smell in the background initially, but there's also this solar feel. It just feels very bright and very sunny. As this begins to dry down, you do get some of the iris texture in the background, but I would say the iris is less prominent in this fragrance compared with Black Iris. The iris makes the coconut water turn more into a dry coconut flesh. The orange blossom definitely does pop a little bit later on in the fragrance and gives a nice sweetness to this. So the dry down, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's some kind of synthetic wood and some kind of synthetic musk going on. But it's quite soft. There's still the sweetness from the rest of the fragrance, remnants of the fruitiness, and also that kind of powdery, coconutty kind of irisy smell. Weirdly, this fragrance makes me think of fragrances like Prada Paradox, but obviously less orangey than that. And also fragrances like Alien Goddess. In fact, Alien Goddess is really the first thing that I thought of with this one. But I don't think it's quite as creamy. It's more like a fruity version of Alien Goddess. I actually found both of these fragrances to be really long lasting. I could smell both of these on my skin the next day. I also think that White Iris projects more than Black Iris, but I wouldn't say that either of these two were quiet fragrances overall. So the ultimate question, of course, is which one of these I prefer. I think out of the two, I think I'm more of a Black Iris person than I am a White Iris person. And I honestly don't understand why they've made this male marketed, because I feel like this is perfectly unisex. I'm really shocked that this is a male marketed fragrance, because normally with male marketed fragrances, especially designer fragrances, I get a huge overdose of Ice Super or a load of Ambroxan, and I don't get that in this fragrance. But there definitely is some kind of synthetic aroma chemical in the dry down. And for that reason, and for the reason that I also sense that in this one, perhaps more so in White Iris, I don't think either of these are for me. But out of the two, I would definitely choose Black Iris. This one I can see being a summer hit against other designer fragrances on the market. I feel like this one would fit for people who love things like Prada Paradox, like Alien Goddess. I really feel like this one is a really fruity, fresh, really sweet, tropical feeling fragrance. And I think lots of people out there really love that kind of fragrance. But I just think these two perhaps aren't quite hitting the spot for me. So yeah, please do let me know if you tried either fragrance from Borsalino and what you thought of them. And also, do you own a Borsalino hat? I'd love to know if anybody owns a fedora out there and has experience of other products from this brand. Or perhaps you are someone who actually owned one of their fragrances from the 80s, 90s or 2000s. Let me know down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.